NHL Tonight studio. Here, Doris. Got a meeting in Davenport. Pittsburgh is a third-year star and heir apparent to the great Gretzky. Gretzky has made the number 99 a staple among hockey fans. He combines speed, grace, intelligence, and a night-in, night-out intensity that amazes teammates and opponents alike. There seems to be no mountain too high, no goal too great for the great one, Wayne Gretzky, to reach. He again is running away with a scoring race in the NHL. Wayne Gretzky, number 99. But if you turn 99 around, you get 66. Mario Lemieux, the pride of the Pittsburgh Penguins, a reborn franchise that's on its way up. And with a healthy Lemieux down the stretch, they could yet attain their goal of making the Stanley Cup playoffs. Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, two of the most dynamic athletes in the world, next on ESPN.
The playoffs have just fallen right into Mario Lemieux's lap again, and he admitted today that he gets a little nervous playing against Wayne Gretzky because he, in fact, admits that Wayne Gretzky is the standard that he would like to emulate in the NHL. He admits Wayne Gretzky is the greatest hockey player in the world.
And the Penguins are looking to their new veteran goalie, Pat Riggin.
Well, on February the 6th, the Pittsburgh Penguins traded little Roberto Romano, and they got little Pat Riggin back. And I had a chance to play 3 years with Pat Riggin. He always liked to call himself a money goalie. And you know what? He is capable of playing some great hockey in tight situations. But we have to be very honest. Pat Riggin came to Pittsburgh from the minor leagues, so he hasn't been having a great year. But if he can put it together for the last 15 games and play those big money games the way he can, Pittsburgh's got a shot at it.
We're just about set to go. The Edmonton Oilers getting ready for the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Penguins fighting to make the playoffs.
All right, Ken and Bill, have a good game tonight in Pittsburgh. It should be a fantastic game. Last time these two teams met, Gretzky had 4 points. Mario Lemieux was shut out. 6 other games tonight in the National Hockey League. One of those games has the New York Rangers at the Odd in Buffalo tonight, playing the hottest team in the NHL, the Buffalo Sabres. Yes, you heard me correctly. And later on, we'll...
These Oilers against the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's 4-1 in those past 5. On the right, there's newly acquired Pat Riggin, who is playing his 5th game in a Penguins uniform.
And we're set to go. Dan Quinn facing off for Pittsburgh against the Oilers' Mark Messier. And Pittsburgh wins the draw. Hillier has the puck. He's on defense with Bodger just shooting it in. And back forward is Kevin Lowe. Lowe is on defense with Muni. This is Messier. Muni chases the puck, and Dan Frawley gets there, and Lowe intercepts for Edmonton deep in his own zone. And out at center ice, Bodger after the puck. Messier, a tremendous skater, gets there first, but Bodger able to clear to center ice. Greg Muni, the ex-Toronto Maple Leaf, shooting the puck back in, and Regan grabs it. Playing it up to Frawley, the former Blackhawk. He has a little trouble and is helped out by Cunnyworth. Wynn, Cunnyworth, and Frawley on the line for Pittsburgh. And out of the goal comes Regan to play the puck to Randy Hillier, the veteran Penguin defenseman. He can't get the puck out low, momentarily keeping it in. Greg Muni, first minute of play in Pittsburgh, and there's no score. Hunter for Edmonton. Dave Hunter sends the puck behind the net to Mark Messier. Hunter was driven down. Frawley intercepting for Pittsburgh. Here's Quinn, the former Calgary play. This is a long shift for Cunnyworth and Quinn, over a minute. And they lose the puck, and it's shot out to center ice as both teams change on the fly. John Shabbat, a quick shot that goes wide. Puck behind the net. Shabbat trying to get it in front. He's bumped by Huddy. Now Willie Lindstrom, the veteran, stopped by Huddy. And it's Esa Tikkanen for the Edmonton Oilers. He is on with Gretzky and Yari Curry. Jim Johnson, the second-year defenseman for Pittsburgh, shooting the puck in off Randy Gregg, and Moog to play it behind the net. Gretzky rink wide to Curry. Now Johnson intercepting back to Shabbat. Lindstrom with a good move. The former Oilers drive. Here's John Shabbat. He shoots and scores. Pittsburgh takes a 1-0 lead.
This was the guy that Bob Berry, Pittsburgh's coach, told us this morning we need more production from number 9, John Shabbat. He will draw the assignment tonight to play against Wayne Gretzky's line to try and shut him down, but he's capable of scoring. He snapped that one directly over Andy Moe's left shoulder. An ex-big scorer that has turned himself into a checker that Bob Berry says can still score. Watch this, right up over Moe's left shoulder. No chance, right in tight, too. Very difficult to get the glove on it.
John Shabbat with 14 goals a season ago has his 14th this season, but what a drought Shabbat has been in. Only 1 goal in his last 20 games, and he gives Pittsburgh an early 1-0 lead. Here's Mario Lemieux for the Penguins. Boom after him. Lemieux one-hands it in front, and Paul Coffey back from that back injury, playing the puck to center ice. Billy Siren takes over for Pittsburgh. Deaconin for the Edmonton Oilers. He's poke check. Coffey and Boom on defense. Coffey goes down, and the Oiler all-star gets right back up. Out to Yari Curry to Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky a pass broken up by Mario Lemieux.
And Lemieux and Gretzky are now facing each other. This is something that the Oilers don't mind, but Bob Berry of the Penguins said he does not want Mario Lemieux to face Wayne Gretzky. Oh, there's a save by Reagan. He does not want him to face Wayne Gretzky, especially in his weakened state after the bronchitis bout.
Here's a chance, and the shot right on by Curry, and Reagan makes the save. Billy Siren gets the puck out. And taken out, then Lemieux centers, no one there for Pittsburgh. Now Gretzky, 3:15 gone in the first period. Pittsburgh up 1-0. They scored at 2:03. Shabbat from Lindstrom and Johnson. Now the puck held. There'll be a face-off. 16:34 to go in the first period. The Penguins lead the Oilers 1-0.
Guy. Paul Coffey picks this one right out of midair. Look at Reagan get his left leg down there. Boy, he's a pretty agile guy.
Now the face-off near Pittsburgh goalie Pat Reagan. Krushelnyski in the face-off circle. And the linesman Gerard Gauthier having trouble getting everything set. Chris Kontos for Pittsburgh against Mike Krushelnyski. Kontos wins the draw, and this is Mo Mantha. Mantha's on defense with Dwight Schofield. Kontos is at center. He has Warren Young with him on left wing. And on the right wing, Craig Simpson, who can't take the pass, and the Oilers shoot the puck right back in. Here comes Pittsburgh. Simpson, 2-on-1 with Kontos. Lowe is back. In front. Simpson shoots. He scores! Craig Simpson. And it's 2-0 Pittsburgh.
What a pass by number 14 of the Penguins, the ex-Ranger Chris Kontos. There's Simpson getting it over to Kontos, and I thought Moog had Simpson. Simpson didn't have much time to tee this up. He gets it in a little tight in his skates, but lifts his head up right away. Look at Moog's stick out there. He had a big piece of it, but it was actually Simpson's skates that came through, banged Andy Moog's stick out of the way, and let the puck go in. Watch Moog with the stick. He gets the puck, but the puck has enough momentum, and Simpson basically clears Andy Moog's arm and stick right out of the way with the momentum of his own skates.
Right from the face-off at center ice after the goal, the puck ends up in the Penguins bench. The goal, Simpson's 24th of the year. He's having a very good year. He scores it at .350 from Kontos and Young. So it is 2-0. Pittsburgh here in the early going at the Civic Arena. 3:55 gone here in period number 1. McTavish without the helmet facing off. And the puck back into the Edmonton zone. Randy Gray. And McTavish slowed up. And Napier lifts the puck high, and that'll go over the Pittsburgh goal. Kontos stops in his own zone. And Napier checked on the play by Siren, who goes down. Huddy pitching up from the left point, and Kontos trying to get the puck from Huddy, who keeps it to McTavish. Now Kevin McClellan is stopped by Siren. Here's Simpson, the goal scorer. Gregg coming in from the right point, and the Penguins able to get the puck out. It will not go quickly enough over the end red line for icing. Charlie Huddy leading the attack for Edmonton. They trail it 2-0. Still early in the first period. Dan Quinn, a weak shot and a save for Andy Moe. Pass for McTavish too far. Jim Johnson shoots the puck right back in. Coming up to the 5-minute mark. First period 2-0. Pittsburgh leading Edmonton. Anderson has trouble, and finally the puck stolen by Quinn from Gregg, and a feed just too far for Cunneyworth. And Cunneyworth taken out by Gregg. Huddy playing the puck along the boards, and it's Mantha from the point. A shot well wide. McTavish can't take the pass. Cunneyworth shoots it towards the goal, and here's Glenn Anderson. He can fly, gaining speed. Glenn Anderson to center ice as the Oilers change players. Here's Anderson around Johnson, hits the side of the net on the rebound. Regan comes up with a miraculous glove save. In Pittsburgh, the Penguins lead the Oilers 2-0.
Goes around one and tries to cut in on Pat Riggin, but Mo Mantha made a real good play in cutting across, but Riggin leaves a rebound. Dangerous rebound, but there's something to be said for leaving that glove open and facing the shooter at all times, and Riggin's been around long enough to know that. The puck kind of shot into his glove, but Anderson's speed creates so many openings when he decides to go wide. He's one of the few players that can accelerate while turning. Jim Poplinski in Calgary, also Mark Messier on this team. Very difficult to accelerate while turning, but Glenn Anderson seems to be able to partially get around that defenseman and just blow by him and get in on net.
This is the matchup that Glenn Sather and John Muckler, the Oilers, want. The Messier line on against the Mario Lemieux line for the Penguins. Pittsburgh with a 2-0 lead here on their home ice. Pittsburgh trying to make it 2 consecutive victories. Riggin plays the puck. Messier kicks it ahead. Mark Messier. The pass eludes his teammate behind the net, and the Penguins clear to center ice. Mitch Wilson is on the right wing with Mario Lemieux. On the left wing is Dave Hannon. And this is Mitch Wilson, something less than a goal scorer. Gets the puck right back from Lemieux over to Hannon, who's playing after coming off a bad knee. He hasn't played since the 9th of January. The puck shot in, and it is offside. Pittsburgh with 13:44 left in the opening period.
Ken Hannon wasn't even supposed to play tonight. Terry Ruskowski was due to play as usual, Pittsburgh's captain, but he came down with the flu. Dave Hannon was taking a nap apparently at home this afternoon after skating hard. We watched Dave Hannon work out, and he wasn't expected to play, so assistant coach Jimmy Roberts stayed on the ice with Dave Hannon and worked him very, very hard, but he was awakened from a nap this afternoon and is in uniform tonight. A couple other guys awakened from their naps, Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky, but at least they expected to have that wake-up call come.
Pittsburgh is without Rod Buskus. He's serving the final game of a 3-game suspension. Kevin LaValle is out with a shoulder injury. Terry Ruskowski the flu, and Phil Bourque is simply not dressed for the Penguins. They lead it 2-0. Deaconin bumped around. Jari Kurri trying to pry the puck loose from Jim Johnson. And this is Mo Mantha around for Willie Lindstrom. And as the Oilers consistently do, the men on the point, the defensemen pinch in. Here's Chabot. He got it started for Pittsburgh with their first goal. He's on with Erie and Lindstrom. Kevin Lowe to Esa Deaconin. Deaconin, the 21-year-old Finn, a drop pass for Curry. Here's Kevin Lowe trying to center from the corner against Mantha, and Lowe is taken out. Now Willie Lindstrom gets the puck. 35-year-old Swede gets it over to Bob Erie, former #1 draft pick of the Penguins, and he's knocked out. Craig Muni nicely up the middle, and it's the great one. 2-on-2 with Jari Kurri, and he hits the side of the goal post. You always look for Gretzky to pass the puck as he does there, and he kind of slipped a surprise shot in.
That's the thing about him, though, Ken. He will surprise you when you least expect it. He is so unpredictable on the ice that you can never develop a pattern, and he shoots the puck, at least slap shot style, better than a lot of people think. Doesn't have much of a wrist shot, but he can tee it up pretty good with a slapper.
Jari Kurri shooting the puck through the slot. Bob Erie leading the Penguins to center ice, and they look for a line change. Andy Moog leading the puck. Huddy gets it out to center ice. Here's Siren for Pittsburgh. Billy Siren one-hands the puck in, and Randy Craig goes back. 8:10 gone in the opening period. It is 2-0 Pittsburgh. Capacity crowd of over 16,000. Cutting in Glenn Anderson. There's that speed again. He shoots, and he can't get it by Pat Riggin. And there's a whistle to stop play. Referee Bob Hall will call a penalty with the Penguins leading the Oilers 2-0.
For years, people have been asking for
Pat Riggin. Riggin makes a nice play with the stick. Watch his left hand with the stick. He forces Anderson to go way wide. By the time Anderson turns around, you can tell he doesn't have much angle. And Riggin, I believe, made the save again with his stick, but that's good use of your stick. You really have to help yourself in there. A guy like Anderson goes wide, and forcing him wide also allows players to get back in there to help you defensively. He had another teammate back there to chip in as well.
The goal, Shabbat at 2:03, Simpson at 3:50, and now Pittsburgh is shorthanded. Dwight Schofield gets a 2-minute slashing penalty here at 8:22 of the opening period. Pittsburgh has a penalty-killing team, 17th in the league, but they've been hot lately. They have killed off 10 consecutive penalties. Randy Cunneyworth lets a shot go, and he tests Sandy Moe. The Edmonton power play lately has been so-so. They're 5th in the league. They're successful 23% of the time.
The key to the Edmonton power play right at this stage of the season, though, Ken, is that they're 3rd in the NHL on the road and 10th at home. And their co-coach John Muckler was saying today, we tend to try and get too creative in front of our hometown fans. We have so many talented players. Sometimes we get a little more basic on the road and we have more success, and their numbers show that.
Bob Erie getting the puck as it slips away from Wayne Gretzky. Bodger, Siren, Quinn, Cunneyworth killing the penalty now for Pittsburgh. They lead it 2-0. Wayne Gretzky to McTavish, and he's stopped. 1:08 to go in the penalty to Dwight Schofield. Budweiser keeping the action going so you can enjoy this game between the Oilers and the Penguins. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Siren can't get the puck out, gets it right back. Here's Bodger. He's stopped. Edmonton on the power play. McTavish looking to center. Messier moves into the slot. Curry's at the left point. Coffey at the right point. Now Messier behind the net. Gretzky is in the near circle. Coffey gets the puck right back. And a rather ill-advised pass as Randy Cunneyworth intercepts. And with 28 seconds to go in the power play, the Oilers are trailing 2-0.
Pittsburgh playing a real flexible box, which is advisable against the Oilers. When the Oilers get the puck on the sideboard, Pittsburgh seems to sag their box in and take away that diagonal pass through the middle. That will tear a power play or penalty-killing unit apart. Penguins are adjusting accordingly every time the Oilers set up in a different area of the ice.
Schofield back in 5 seconds, and you can see why the Pittsburgh Penguins now have killed off 11 consecutive short-handed situations. So Schofield comes to the bench. Both teams at full strength. Craig McTavish into the Pittsburgh zone. Trailed by Gretzky. Back to McTavish. He's got Krushelnyski in front, and he fans as Gretzky sets up Krushelnyski. Craig keeps the puck in. A rather sloppy pass by the Penguins. Hannon to Wilson to Mario Lemieux. He does a nice job taking the pass off his skate. Hannon, he's got Wilson in front, and McTavish very late in a shift does a good job back-checking. And Mario Lemieux handling the puck for Pittsburgh. Just playing it to an open side. It's Wilson trying to get around Gregg, and he can't. Huddy stopped by Mario Lemieux. And Gretzky will end up with a puck. Pittsburgh leads it 2-0. Behind the back to McTavish. He's been out there forever. He and Bodger go down as Wilson clears the puck out. And it's shot back in offside, Edmonton. There's 8:41 remaining in the first period. And surprisingly, Pittsburgh leads Edmonton 2-0.
If you're up against the...
Shabbat and Craig Simpson have scored.
Here's a look at Wayne Gretzky. He's looking east, passes west. You can't see, but Craig McTavish was rolling down the wing, and that landed right on his tape.
Krushelnyski facing off for Edmonton against Simpson. Simpson forces the puck in, and then he'll force Lowe into a penalty. Kevin Lowe will go off. Simpson just kind of twisted his head back. He knew he'd lost the puck, and I think drew the penalty as much as anything. Good play.
When you dramatize, it helps, doesn't it?
So Kevin Lowe will go off. Pittsburgh will have the power play, and they lead it by a score of 2-0. So a 2-minute penalty for high sticking to Kevin Lowe.
Take a look at Pittsburgh's power play. They are currently 12th in the NHL, but Boy, in the last 16 games, they are 8 of 73 chances in the power play, and granted that Mario Lemieux wasn't there for some of those last 16 games. You can't measure the contribution of a guy like Mario Lemieux, especially on the power play.
First power play opportunity for Pittsburgh tonight.
Kevin's a little angry with this call. You saw him squirt the water bottle. Here he is getting the stick up a little high on Craig Simpson, but high enough, I guess, to allow Craig Simpson to make it look real good. But, you know, the referee was behind the play coming up as well as he could behind the play, and good play by Craig Simpson. You draw any penalty that you can, and Kevin got his stick up high enough that he was able to fake it and get down with the fall.
Dan Quinn at center for Pittsburgh on the power play as the Oilers get the puck out. Roger back for it. Mantha will be at the other point. Quinn with Simpson and Young in front of Pat Riggin. It's 2-0. Penguins in the first period. Edmonton shorthanded. Huddy stops the puck nicely. Dave Hunter gets it out, and the Penguins will start out from their own goal area.
You know, the
Reagan gives it away. Messier centers. Reagan still out of the goal. And Reagan trying to get back up. He's still on his pad. Now finally gets back up. Reagan having a little trouble on a couple of occasions in the first period handling the puck.
He doesn't handle the puck real well, nor does Andy Moog at the other end. That's always been one of Pat Riggins' areas that he's had to work on, and he's never really developed it. He does not handle the puck as well as many goaltenders in the NHL.
Here's Moog, a chance to handle the puck. He gets it to Messier, and he clears it out. Johnson leaves it at center ice. Pittsburgh faltering here on the power play. Dave Hunter. Pittsburgh's power play, as Bill points out, is really sputtered lately. Mantha is upended. Good check by Coffey. 36 seconds to go in the Oilers' penalty to Kevin Lowe.
You know, Ken, the Oilers' penalty killing has the same problem at home. They get a little too offensive. They're trying to be too creative, and actually they always want to go on the attack. So they're 7th in the NHL on the road in killing penalties. They're 17th at home. You put them together, and they're 14th overall combined home and road in the National Hockey League out of 21 teams.
Jim Johnson, Minnesota Duluth product. Gets it to Lemieux, and his pass is broken up. Here's McTavish. Cutting right in. He shoots, and Regan out to make the save. Napier a shot, and that's stopped by Pat Riggin. Now, Lowe back on. Edmonton again at full strength. Mario Lemieux, they don't want him to come out of his own end with a puck, as he'll make some terrific plays. Finally, Mario Lemieux is stopped, and here's Esa Tikkanen. Intercepting is Simpson, just bumping Coffey. And the Oilers being hemmed in now by some good Pittsburgh forechecking. Ball Coffey. Here's Mario Lemieux, and Cunninworth can't quite catch up with a puck. Coffey. You don't want him to wind it up either. He can fly. Coffey. Napier moving right into McTavish, and a shot goes through the crease. McTavish seemed to be just a little off balance.
I think he was surprised. That was a pass that Napier made when he had a man right in between himself and McTavish. It might have surprised McTavish, not expecting it.
Intercepting Chabot for Pittsburgh as the Penguins break out. Willie Lindstrom, 2-on-2 with Chabot. Lindstrom a drive, and Moog makes a save with a trapper. And play is stopped with 5:26 remaining in period 1. And Pittsburgh leads Edmonton 2-0.
Here's McTavish coming in and letting one go on Pat Riggin, who came down, cut his angle down nicely. Didn't have much chance to control a rebound there.
Both teams at full strength. False start on the faceoff. Edmonton shots on goal. Pittsburgh has had 6. The Pittsburgh goals from Chabot and Simpson. A good look at Mark Messier in his 8th season with the Oilers, and having another tremendous season.
Boy, but is he overshadowed on that team? I mean, who wouldn't be? He is one of the greatest hockey players in the world, and you know that very few people know the name Mark Messier, whereas everyone knows Wayne Gretzky's name. But it's safe to say as well, Ken, that as far as being a complete hockey player, that Mark Messier is as close as you can get. He can score, he's big, he's tough, he can play a grinding game or he can play a finesse game, so he really doesn't have a weakness in his game.
Here's Jim Johnson, drilling the puck right back in for Pittsburgh. Gretzky to Tikkanen. He's got Curry on his right. They'll crisscross. And Sira knocks the puck away. Lindstrom leads the way to Shabbat. Erie is the other forward for the Penguins. Willie Lindstrom, another shot, and Moog makes the save. Gary Curry, Wayne Gretzky just shooting the puck in. Lowe and Muni come on defense now for Edmonton as they change their defenseman. Shabbat kicks the puck into a crowd, now pries it loose. Playing it around the boards for Erie, and he and Muni collide, and Kevin Lowe has the puck. He whistles it right back in, and Riggin out of the crease. Doug Bodger, fine young defenseman for the Pittsburgh Penguins, up to Bob Erie, and on to Willie Lindstrom. Lindstrom with Shabbat. Pass behind Shabbat. He'll play the puck in the corner. Centers, and Erie swipes the puck and knocks it wide. Over 4 minutes remaining in the first period, and Pittsburgh leads it 2-0. This is a team, Bill, that hasn't been scoring much lately. To get 2 in the first period is a real bonus for Bob Berry.
That's been their big problem. Even when Lemieux was out, this team kept the opposition to something like 2.85 goals. But as Bob Berry pointed out to us today, we were scoring at a 2.65 goal a game rate. We really couldn't make any headway, even though we were checking well. Couldn't score.
There's a penalty coming up. A penalty coming up against Edmonton. Riggin goes to the bench, an extra attacker, and Erie stopped by Moog. Play continues. Finally, Gretzky touches the puck, and a high sticking penalty will be called against the Edmonton Oilers. Pittsburgh is on top, 2-0.
This bud's for all.
A little too much, and even after that, Mario Lemieux had a chance to dump it in the short side.
Esa Tikkanen, 2 minutes high sticking at 16-19. Second power play opportunity for Pittsburgh. Quinn with a puck. Penguins lead it 2-0. Mantha over to Siren, to Simpson, to Quinn. He waits, and Warren Young on the tip-in. Warren Young makes it 3-0. Pittsburgh. I want that spot right in front.
Boy, I'll tell you. Danny Quinn usually winds up and lets it go when he gets that diagonal pass. But make no mistake about it, he saw Warren Young moving to that area before he let it go, so he wisely stopped the puck. Didn't bother trying to one-time it, set it up, pulls Andy Moog to him a little bit, then just slips it over to Warren Young, who deposits it and says, yay. What a pass by Craig Simpson all the way through to Dan Quinn. The heads up, there's Warren Young moving to the side. Moog doesn't have a chance. Call that a yayer. It's so easy that after you score, you go, yay.
They don't come any easier than that. Warren Young has goal number 6 on the year. He's been in the minor leagues for a time.
Boy, and you can see Charlie Huddy dive out to try and cut that pass. But boy, that was a gamble that failed in a big way. He dove out to cut the pass, and when he missed it, he not only missed the pass, but he left Warren Young standing all alone at the side of the net.
16:37, power play goal, Young from Quinn and Simpson. Shabbat, Simpson, and Young have scored. Pittsburgh leading Edmonton 3-0. Penguins, a very hungry team, trying to nail down the final playoff spot in the Patrick division. Quinn, a nice move around Bootboom in front. They score! Crawley on a tip-in. Dan Crawley, 4-0 Pittsburgh, and they're on their feet at the Civic Arena.
Boy, Crawley just kept skating and skating down the middle. Well, what a play by Danny Quinn right here to dump it by the Oilers defenseman and move in and get it. Meanwhile, number 28, Crawley, is digging with all he's got for the net. Makes the right play, too. He does a little chip shot right up over Andy Moog, who made a decent attempt to get him. Here's the pass from Quinn. Look at Moog spreading down. I mean, he had the lower end of that net covered. It actually bounced off the top of his pad, went up under the crossbar, and caught the net, and that's how he scored. That was a nice effort by Andy Moog, but an even better effort by Crawley.
And Crawley has his 5th goal of the year. He was a 10-goal scorer last year. Quinn and Cunnyworth assisting at 17:09. So 2 goals within the span of 62 seconds for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And play is stopped with 2:27 remaining in the first period. And if you would have expected it late in the first period, Bill Clement, to be 4-0, you could have bet the mortgage it would have been the Oilers leading.
You're reading my mind. We talked about it before the game, and we talked about how the Oilers really are a much better team at home. And they play decent hockey everywhere, but we said, well, Pittsburgh could, make some headway in this first period. But I agree. If we expected a 4-0 score, I would have bet on the Oilers and not the Pittsburgh Penguins, but they are rolling tonight.
The Edmonton Oilers on a 5-game, 13-day road trip. The road trip started Sunday afternoon at Winnipeg with a 5-2 loss to the Jets. They'll play at New Jersey and Washington, take a 4-day vacation in Phoenix, and then end the road trip in Vancouver. So it's a long coast-to-coast journey for Edmonton.
I wonder if some of those players aren't teeing it up on the course in Phoenix already.
2:10 to go. There'll be a penalty called. This one will be against Pittsburgh. Hogue races to the bench. Messier with a puck. An extra attacker for Edmonton. They'll get a chance to keep play going until Pittsburgh, right there, touches the puck. Bob Hall, the referee, will call an interference penalty. The penalty coming here at the 18:05 mark of the first period, with Pittsburgh commanding a 4-0 lead. And the Penguins, Dan Quinn especially, not very happy with that penalty call. Well, Bob Barry is definitely under the gun here in Pittsburgh, and he has got to feel as well right now as he has felt in some time.
He is under the gun, but he's done such a great job here. You know, when he came here after 83-84, these Pittsburgh Penguins had the worst record in the NHL. Somehow they wrestled it away from the Detroit Red Wings that year and finished with only 38 points. He improved them 15 points the next season, improved them 23 points to last season, and he's had his problems this year, but he's done an excellent job here thus far.
The penalty to Jim Johnson, the New Hope, Minnesota native. The interference penalty at 18:05. So there have been 4 penalties called, 2 aside.
You know what Bob Barry said today when we reminded him that Edmonton was coming in after a 5-2 loss in Winnipeg? He said, "Oh, right, that's all we need. We lead the league in meeting excited opponents. There always seems to be a coaching change or a good hockey team that has just lost a game and is really hungry when they come in here. But so far, the Penguins have been the hungry ones tonight."
Coffey, shot blocked by Erie. Edmonton on the power play as Coffey and Erie go down. Jari Kurri back for the puck. It's Kurri, Messier, Coffey, Gretzky, and Anderson for the Edmonton Oilers. The penalty will extend 5 seconds beyond the time remaining here in the first period. 4-0 Pittsburgh. Messier shooting the puck in. Cunnyworth is back for it. Oh, a nice move to get away from Anderson. And Mo Mantha loses the puck to Anderson. This is Kurri. He's got Coffey at the other point. Jari Kurri playing catch with Messier. Less than a minute to go in the period as Coffey can't get the shot away in the slot. It's knocked down.
Well, Pittsburgh adjusted that box again. They sagged it in tight, and when Edmonton tried that pass through their box, they weren't able to do it.
Here's Anderson, and the play is offside. Edmonton, 46 seconds to go in a very surprising first period. There is Glenn Anderson, who's had some brilliant opportunities in this opening period. He is a Canadian lad who went to the University of Denver, played some junior hockey briefly in Seattle, and played on the Canadian Olympic team.
It's funny, when you can skate too, Ken, you always have the chances. You just have to keep those legs going. Here's Cunnyworth coming into the corner. Watch this move on Anderson. He just about does another slick move on Messier. He tries to go to the outside, but Messier just stopped him up and dumped it back into the corner. You've got to be careful with too much stick handling deep in the zone when you're a man down.
Pittsburgh playing shorthanded. Coffey gets the puck to Kurri. Bodger intercepts, then he hits Shabbat with it. Here's Mantha. Shabbat, Simpson, Young, and Crawley have all scored in the first period for Pittsburgh. The Penguins, prior to their victory against the Rangers on the road Sunday, had a 5-game winless streak. In fact, they've won only 5 times in their last 20. Gretzky says, "Spread out, fellas. I'll look after you. Get your stick down." And the pass eludes Kurri. You know, you go back even a greater distance. In the Pittsburgh Penguins' last 39 games, they've won only 9. And Edmonton is offside. But in this first period tonight, accolades galore for Pittsburgh. Their penalty killing has been tremendous, and they put 4 on the board against Edmonton.
Against most teams, too. That would be enough to lock it up, but we pointed it out before many times. You never have too many goals against the Edmonton Oilers. At times, if you play well enough defensively, and Pittsburgh is capable of playing very strong defensively, at times 4 might be enough, but you never have quite too many. Boy, when they get rolling, they're an awesome sight. They have the most offensive-minded, most explosive forwards in the NHL, and when they decide to really let it rip, they can open things up wide open. There's a lot of time left for the Edmonton Oilers tonight.
Well, Tom Mees is standing by. We have an exciting first intermission coming up for you to match the excitement of this crowd of 16,033 here in Pittsburgh. After 20 minutes, Pittsburgh 4, Edmonton nothing.
Here, Doris.
No question. We'll have to watch and see how they do the first period. As we mentioned, they did a fine job on them, and Pat Regan also did a heck of a job for the Penguins. If we take a look at the quality scoring chances that we're trying to track from up here, basically they both had 5 quality scoring chances. Pittsburgh capitalized on 4 of them. There they are. The Oilers didn't capitalize on any of them.
That's the story. Shabbat is 14th, Simpson's 24th. Young and Frawley each picking up their 6th goal of the season.
The Penguins also did a good job, Ken, in forcing the Oilers. We look at turnovers. The Oilers turned the puck over 21 times in the first period. That's a lot. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, turned it over a dozen times, so they have the advantage there as well.
Pittsburgh shorthanded for the first 4 seconds, and now back at full strength as Jim Johnson is on the ice. So the Penguins have been successful killing off 12 consecutive shorthanded situations. You would expect that Edmonton would come out flying here in the second period. Messier's centering pass broken up. Here's Doug Bodger with Frawley. Quinn trails. And Edmonton comes up with a punt. Messier with Hunter. And that's broken up by Hilliard. Here's Dan Quinn. He's got Cunnyworth with him. Shoveling the puck in. Cunnyworth puts on the brakes. Randy Cunnyworth off the chest of Andy Moe. Pittsburgh leading it 4-0. Glenn Anderson showing his speed in the first period. Gets the puck to Tikkanen. And Johnson will dig it out for Pittsburgh. Gretzky trying to keep it in. He's unable to. Johnson to Lindstrom. This crowd, I think, is so disbelieving that it's 4-0. They're kind of quiet.
They're waiting for the roof to cave in.
This is pure shot. Bob Erie. Tied up by Tikkanen. Centering to Lindstrom. The shot off the stick of Coffey. A minute and a half has been played in the second period. Shabbat to Lindstrom. Erie's in front, but the play broken up. Now it's Edmonton trying to cut in Tikkanen, and Lindstrom all over. Mo Mantha up to John Shabbat. Jim Johnson breaking with him. Shabbat makes one too many moves, forced to by Coffey, and is offside. Pittsburgh leading it 4-0.
The NHL tonight is being brought to you by 7-Up. Pour and cool and clear 7-Up.
A close game as Simpson gives the puck to Young. Nice shot, and Andy Moe makes the save on the veteran Warren Young.
Bob Barry might have stumbled on a unit that's going to help them down the stretch. With Craig Simpson playing with Contos and Young, they were put together for the Rangers game, which Pittsburgh won without Mario Lemieux. Here's Warren Young getting a sharp angle shot away. Look at the end-over-ender. I think Andy Moe would have gone for it with his glove, but when you see it coming end-over-end, you've got to get as much body in front of it. It's like a catcher trying to catch a knuckleball. Just try and get in front of it and hope that it hits you.
You know, in this day and age in the NHL, line changes are frequent in terms of the personnel in a given line. You just seem to have different wings, different centermen. The coaches eagerly change their combination. Pittsburgh, a shot. He didn't get it all, and Moe able to slide in front of it. Pittsburgh doing good forechecking. Young gets the puck out, and Contos can't come up with it. And Edmonton comes back. Mark Napier, the veteran, to McTavish. The shot stopped. Save on Randy Craig. And Craig Simpson clears the puck away.
Well, Regan put himself in a bad spot, but came up big on the second save. He left the rebound off his blocker right out into the slot area with Randy Gregg cruising in. But he was there for the save on Gregg, too.
Hilliard gets the puck up to Contos. I guess at this time of the year, Bill, these coaches, Bob Barry in particular, are looking for that one line that might work some magic. It's really changed some years ago when they try to play 3 fellas together a lot and get them familiar with each other.
Right, especially with a team like Pittsburgh, Ken. They don't have that many gifted scorers, so they're always looking for a combination that can carry them for at least a few games and spark a few goals. You keep struggling and mixing and matching. Mario Lemieux, no problem. You can put anybody with him, but the other guys, you just hope you can get 2 or 3 games games at least of production from a line.
Randy Hillier will pick up a 2-minute penalty for taking Kevin McClellan down, his Tempers player, for the first time this evening here in Pittsburgh. Second period of action. Penguins 4 and the Oilers nothing.
A winning garden is like a winning...
Here at 3:22 of the second period. And this is kind of a spot where you might look for Edmonton to be successful and turn things a little. Back to the blue line, Charlie Huddy. On the power play, Anderson loses the puck. Mantha gets it to Erie and he clears it away. Shabbat, Erie, Mantha, and Johnson killing the penalty for Pittsburgh. Gretzky with a puck for Edmonton. Leaves it and Mantha shoots it back in. Huddy and Coffey are on the point. The great one with the puck. We've got Messier on his right, Anderson on his left on the power play, and Messier screams in just ahead of the puck over the Pittsburgh blue line offside.
And you're right, it is a good time for Edmonton to start chipping away, and what they have to do is look at it period by period. Many coaches coach that way, and players especially when they get into the locker room. I'm sure Wayne Gretzky is in the locker room between periods saying, let's look at this one period at a time. Our goal now is to win the second period. Hopefully we can win it by at least 2 goals. That narrows the gap. If you look at that big 4-goal stretch, sometimes it can be rather depressing in there, so you have to break it down into little mini games, and the second period is the Oilers' game that they want to win right now.
The Edmonton Oilers with 81 points overall. There's the power play situation tonight. Edmonton with the power play. Philadelphia overall is second in the NHL with 79 points, so a tight battle for the cash and the right to home ice advantage throughout the playoffs should you go that far between Philadelphia and Edmonton. If anything like last year, the home ice advantage would be irrelevant. Power play, Edmonton. 55 seconds left in the power play, and Messier drills it wide. Gretzky to Huddy. Charlie Huddy. Puck kept in. Messier. Huddy knocked down by Shabbat. Anderson takes a hit from Bodger. Gretzky might want to do it himself, and a shot blocked by Sheeran. Huddy a drive, and that's wide. There's 25 seconds to go. In the penalty to the Penguins, Randy Hillier. We'll go back to those Stanley Cup finals last spring. Calgary and Montreal. A surprise. We'll have them a week from tonight. Here on ESPN, the Canadiens and the Flames from Calgary. That's 1 week from tonight. Gretzky leading the power play. Gets it out in front, and a penalty will be called as Messier was sent flying by Quinn, and Messier takes exception. Quinn will pick up a 2-minute penalty with 6 seconds remaining in the initial Pittsburgh penalty.
You're right, Mark Messier took exception, but he was disciplined enough not to retaliate against Danny Quinn.
It's Pittsburgh 4 and Edmonton nothing.
Mark Messier from behind just jabbed him with a stick in the back of the skates, and you can't afford to be sneaky like that. I mean, that's not sneaky at all. Head referee standing there watching him, and that's something that Pittsburgh can't afford now. They have to play discipline against these guys. There you go.
Boy, Paul Coffey set up by Wayne Gretzky. And for Pittsburgh, the unfortunate side is there were still 2 seconds left in Hillier's penalty. Had the goal come 3 seconds later, they would have had one man already out, and Quinn would have gotten out, but he's still in there.
I agree. No question that had the Penguins had an extra man out there, they would have been able to spread that top guy in the zone. That is the area that the top guy would have been in had they had that 4th man out there. Gretzky feeds over, and bingo, Coffey lets it go with everything. You can see his stick whipping. It's a tough spot to be in as Pat Riggin was there, kind of squeezed, I think, between his arm and his body, but that tells you something about the penalty Dan Quinn took. Even with that 6 seconds remaining on the other penalty, it put them down by 2 men, and you just can't afford to do that. That's sloppy. Penguins cannot be sloppy if they want to continue to hold the lead against Edmonton.
12th goal of the season for Paul Coffey. Still a minute 44 to go on the Quinn penalty. Messier in front for Teakin, and that's turned aside. At the point, Jari Kurri. In the corner, Messier. With the puck, Teakin. Coffey from Gretzky and Messier. Power play with a 2-man advantage at 5:20. There's a shot and a whistle. right out in front, and a penalty is being called. Still another penalty coming up. Quinn still has 1:22 to go in his penalty. It's 4-1 Pittsburgh.
Look, I want to see other people.
Penguins here. Mark Messier drawing a penalty. Here's a shot from the point. I believe that hit Pat Riggin right on the backside as he was going down. Messier came through, got all twisted around with one of the Pittsburgh defenders and took Riggin with him. And Riggin was lying on his way down to lying on his face when that puck hit him in the back.
That is an interference penalty at 5:54 to Messier. Both teams will play a man short. This is an ideal situation for Gretzky. Simpson with the puck tipped wide by Contos. Johnson. The other defenseman is Mantha. He pinches in. Trying to get the puck to Contos. Here's Simpson. A backhand shot. It trickles wide. Craig Simpson bidding for his second of the night. Wayne Gretzky intercepting. Winding up is Gretzky. 4-1. Pittsburgh leads. Gretzky for Curry, and Mantha is well positioned. Lowe will keep the puck in. Johnson intercepts, and the puck will go the length of the ice. It'll be an icing call against Pittsburgh as Muni touches the puck. 38 seconds remaining in Quinn's Pittsburgh penalty. 1:16 to go in Messier's Edmonton penalty. Boy, you get Gretzky winding up his own end like that, you don't know what'll happen.
Who said he can't skate? We talked to John Muckler, Edmonton's co-coach today, and we were talking about speed, and he agreed that Paul Coffey, top-end speed, is one of the fastest in the league, but Gretzky's right behind him.
Let's go down to Tom Meads.
Ken Wilson, so you say you want to be a goaltender. Well, watch this. Kari Taco is in the nets for Minnesota. This is Paul Gillis winding up with a slap shot from the top of the face-off circle, right in the face. Hits Kari Taco right in the face mask. The good news is he's up and he's still playing in Quebec. Let's go back to Pittsburgh. The life of a goaltender.
Both teams playing it short-handed. A lot of jobs I'd take before I'd want to be a goaltender.
Oh, come on. They wear all kinds of equipment. Ha, ha, ha.
I don't have enough strength to even walk or skate with all that equipment.
They're wearing 25 or 30 pounds of equipment. And, you know, Pat Riggins' equipment was stolen when he was trying to make it here from the American League in Montreal and trying to clear customs. He was held up. John Doolin, the equipment manager here in Pittsburgh, had a heck of a time outfitting him with all kinds of bits and pieces of old equipment. And the last thing he could find, he actually didn't find it, was a catching glove. He had to get a new one made by the company that makes his gloves, and they didn't put as much padding in it, so it would be easier to break in. But he was wearing all kinds of tattered and torn equipment for the first few games here.
Shabbat trying to make the last move, unable to. McTavish to Napier. Craig McTavish ridden out by Billy Siren. And Doug Bodger clears the puck away. Quinn is back on. Pittsburgh is at full strength. They have a power play for 31 seconds as the play is whistled dead with 12:37 to go in the second period. Pittsburgh getting 4 goals in the first period. Edmonton has come back in this period.
Craig McTavish has had a pretty steady season. We asked their coaching staff this morning, besides the big guns, the Messier, Anderson, Curry, Gretzky, of the lesser lights, who has had the most steady season, the steadiest kind of hockey season? And we mentioned Craig McTavish, and they agreed with us. We thought that Craig McTavish has played well, pretty well every time we've seen them play. And the Oilers coaching staff said, yes, he's been a very nice penalty killer and a good two-way player for us, steadily game in and game out. And you need those steady guys, those unsung heroes.
16,033. That is capacity here at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. They have now sold out 20 of the last 23 games here, and it's the 23rd sellout of the season. They're averaging over 15,000 a game here in Pittsburgh.
Nice to have someone like Mario to build a marketing program around, isn't it?
Boy, the NHL and the Penguins are the story here in the Steel City nowadays. Warren Young, Dan Quinn, no one in front except men in blue. Trying to keep it in and unable to is Mo Mantha. 5 seconds and Messier will be back on. Napier intercepts. He's yanked down by Jim Johnson. McTavish is shot wide. Penalty coming up against Pittsburgh, and Jim Johnson, the youngster, will go off for hooking. Penalties are hurting the Penguins in this second period, but they lead 4-1.
Drag people down. And That's something the Oilers are very good at, drawing penalties because of their speed. Here's Jimmy Johnson, the puck taking a funny bounce off the board, and he does a little hook action to Mark Napier, but Napier exaggerated a bit just to make sure that he cinched the call, and that gives Edmonton yet another power play, and you can only put up with this Edmonton power play for so long, Ken.
8 minutes, the time of the penalty. Yeah, the Edmonton Oilers, I mean, it's a obvious point. You just can't give them opportunities. You have to play almost a perfect game to beat Edmonton.
That's the thing, and it's kind of a reversal. We mentioned quality chances and goals. Pittsburgh scored 4 goals on 5 quality chances. The Oilers scored none on 5 quality chances in the first period. That's a reversal. That's what makes the Oilers so effective. They have gifted and skilled enough forwards that when they get those big chances, and they get enough because guys like Messier, Anderson, and Gretzky can create them, they deposit the puck. They actually capitalize on all of those key chances.
Edmonton on the power play. Roger breaking up the play, and Shabbat just shoots the puck deep into the Edmonton end. In terms of shots tonight, Pittsburgh is out shooting Edmonton 13-12. Pittsburgh leading 4-1. Gretzky will flip the puck in. Reagan slapping it to the boards. Hillier for Pittsburgh, unable to get it out. And then Cunningworth gets it ahead to Quinn. Here comes Moog. Here's Quinn, and Andy Moog scoops up the puck with his trapper and has to keep it in play as he skates back into the crease.
Boy, that's a scary decision. Andy Moog's there. He knows that puck is rolling. Do I go? Do I not go? He made the right one that time.
No time for indecision.
No, split second. You have to make the decision quickly, and you have to make the right decision.
Cunningworth in his own end for Pittsburgh. Can't get it out. Penguins shorthanded for another 50 seconds. Gretzky to Curry. Anderson. Messier's in the slot. Gretzky's behind the net, and the puck goes to Coffey. Messier. And Sheeran intercepts. Half a minute to go in the Edmonton power play. Coffey winding up. An errant pass. It'll be icing. Mantha touches the puck. Icing against the Oilers. 22 seconds remaining in the penalty to Jim Johnson of Pittsburgh.
And it's hard to believe that we're looking at a 4-1 Pittsburgh lead, and Mario Lemieux has not been a factor tonight. It's been everyone else but Mario, still suffering from bronchitis that kept him out of 4 games, and we haven't seen him on the ice as much tonight either. Here's that race for the puck. Off the boards, Danny Quinn. Watch Moog on the right of your screen come out of nowhere to scoop it up, and Danny Quinn had to bail out pretty cleanly there, too. That's a lot of padding coming at you. Look at this angle. What a great shot of Andy Moog's perspective as he's skating out there. Quinn bailed out. He had a choice either to dive for it, but when you dive, you're diving into a bunch of gear.
You know, we talked about Gretzky, how potent he has been this season against Pittsburgh. In 3 games now, the Oilers have scored 9 goals against the Penguins, and Gretzky has had a hand in 8 of the 9. He had an assist on the goal here in this second period. It came with Edmonton enjoying a 2-man advantage. Right now, the Oilers have a 1-man advantage. Napier trying to get the puck to McTavish. Can't do it. It's out. Shot back in by Huddy, and it is offside. Let's go to Tom Mees.
All right, Ken, thank you. In Le Colisée in Quebec City, the Minnesota North Stars have tied it up. What a thrill for defenseman Ron Wilson. From the point, the slap shot, a perfect screen. It touches nobody, and it touches nothing but the net. After 1 period, Minnesota 2, Quebec 2, Ron Wilson's first NHL goal. Let's go back to Pittsburgh and Ken Wilson.
All right, Tom Mees. Bill Clement, you know, you talk about Gretzky, and you tend to talk about Lemieux and Gretzky on a night like this. I went back and looked at the last 5 games Edmonton has played here. They've won 3, lost 1, tied 1. Right. In those 5, Gretzky has a 4-goal game here and a hat trick here. So the people in Pittsburgh know all about Wayne Gretzky.
Listen, he has scored a point in all 25 career games that he's played against the Pittsburgh Penguins. In 25 games, 31 goals, 41 assists for 72 points in 25 lifetime games against the Penguins. They've seen plenty of number 99.
Back at full strength, the Penguins. Bodger clears the puck out. He's on defense with Hillier. Huddy rushing back off McTavish's stick to Gregg. Gregg plays it ahead, and the Oilers just dumping in. McTavish for Edmonton. They trail 4-1. Intercepting Craig Simpson. He's got Contos and Young with him. Here's Warren Young. He has a goal tonight. So does Simpson. Huddy trying to intercept, battling with Simpson, and he gets the puck off on the boards to Mark Napier, the former Montreal Canadian and Minnesota North Star. Now McClellan a shot, and that's turned aside. Johnson takes out his man. Simpson gets the puck. There'll be a penalty. A penalty coming up against Edmonton and Kevin McClellan. Reagan races to the bench. The delayed penalty due in front to Young, and he is stopped by Andy Moog after a terrific setup by Mo Mantha. Pittsburgh leading the Oilers 4-1.
It happened a lot faster than that, man. Here's that other save at the other end by Andy Moog. Warren Young doing a nice spin around, and that basically hit Andy Moog, but he was protecting the lower portion of the net the way he should, and Young just wheeled around and hit him.
Pittsburgh with a 3-goal lead, looking for their second power play goal of the night. Quinn gets the puck ahead. Cunnyworth. Mario Lemieux is up front. This is Bodger to Lemieux at the right point. Mantha cutting into the middle. He's got Cunnyworth who fans. Randy Cunnyworth started the season with a hat trick in the opening game. Quinn looking for Lemieux, and that play broken up. And who breaks it up? None other than Mark Messier. Just over 8 minutes remaining in the second period, and the pass just out of the reach of Mario Lemieux. And he stops Kevin Lowe and centers, and Quinn unable to play it. Muni gets in the way. At the right point, Sheeran unable to keep the puck in. He bumps into Messier. Gretzky with it. 1:04 to go in the Oilers penalty. Here's Kevin Lowe to Mark Messier. The Oilers are outstanding at scoring while they're shorthanded. Wayne Gretzky lets it rip, and a glove save by Pat Riggin. Edmonton has 19 shorthanded goals this season. They're shorthanded here as Quinn plays the puck in his own end to Cunnyworth. 4-1 Pittsburgh. Cunnyworth can't get around the defense, and the puck comes up on the wing, and playing it is Hunter. Gretzky looking for Coffey, and that shot goes high and caroms into the crowd. 26 seconds left in the Edmonton penalty. Let's get an update from other NHL action from Tom.
Ken, 3 other games underway at this hour. Late in the first period, the Rangers in Buffalo are tied at 1 at the odd. After 1 period in Quebec City, it's Minnesota 2, Quebec 2. And after 1 in Washington, the Capitals are pasting Detroit 4-0 in the first intermission. Let's go back to the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, Ken.
All right, Tom, 7:10 to go in the period. Period 2.
There's Wayne Gretzky teeing one up from a rather sharp angle. Difficult to tell if it was on net, probably a little wide, but Pat Riggin nevertheless took no chance with it.
Pittsburgh with the power play. Johnson shovels the puck to Mantha, up to Warren Young. He was a longtime Minnesota farmhand before he came here and had a big year. Oh, I guess he's a millionaire. Huh? Gone from a longtime farmhand to a millionaire.
Amazing how that big year at the right time when you're a free agent. What happened was he was a free agent right after that big year and just basically got into a little bit of a bidding war with him being the property that everyone was bidding for, and I'd say he just about turned himself into a millionaire.
Time means everything. Pittsburgh back at full strength. McClellan bumps Contos. Then Mantha takes a big hit into the boards. Young trying to get the puck out and does to center ice to Chris Contos, the ex-Ranger, with Simpson and Johnson, and the puck stolen away. At center ice, Dr. Randy Gregg, the redhead, flips it in. Kulak trying to get to the puck. He's held out by Johnson. Play a tad bit ragged. Talk about a long shot. Contos for almost his own blue line. There's 6 minutes to go in the second period. Pittsburgh with a surprising 4-1 lead. They did all their scoring in the first period. The Oilers scored with a 2-man power play advantage here in the second period. Here's Bob Erie. Trailed by Willie Lindstrom. Ooh, what a quick shot by Lindstrom. Boy, did he let that thing go in a hurry.
I think it went off the post. He caught it so well.
Kevin Lowe. At center ice. Zooming on the right wing check. He's on with Kulak and Krushelnicki. And here's Kevin Lowe. Kulak, the rookie, started the campaign in Vancouver, leaves the puck, and Subban takes a glove in the face from Hillier. And Lowe, a check on Lindstrom before the puck got there, and Lindstrom looked back to make sure he knew who it was. dumping the puck in. Pittsburgh's John Shabbat. He has one of the 4 Pittsburgh goals. Bob Erie. 5 minutes remaining in the period. Erie knocked down. That'll be a penalty. Bob Hall, the referee, will call a penalty on Stu Kulak. Pittsburgh leading the Oilers 4-1.
On Kevin Lowe, about 10 seconds before this cross-check by Stu Kulak, and that was right in front of Bob Hall. And he said, "I had enough. I can't let this one go." Here's a look at Bob Erie. He's going to set up Willie Lindstrom for this quick shot. We'll see if it did go off the post. Oh, yeah, that got right by Moog. Lindstrom, you know, is a guy that the Oilers would not mind having back at this stage of the season. He's an ex-Oiler, and they admitted last year when they were in the playoffs against Calgary, we'd love to have a guy like Willie Lindstrom in our lineup. They didn't think they had room for him at the beginning of the season, but when push came to shove, he's a nice guy to have around. He's in his mid-30s, but he's a veteran hockey player of all kinds of wars from Sweden, and very valuable man and a dedicated athlete as well.
Messier, Edmonton playing shorthanded. Kulak cross-checking. 15:02 of the second period. Pittsburgh now will just try to get the puck and get something going with a man advantage. This is Siren. The other point will be occupied by Johnson. Quinn is in the middle along with Mario Lemieux and Warren Young. Siren getting it in, and Moog leaves it. And there's a crowd. It's amazing how that puck gathers people. Here's Young. He's got Quinn in the near corner. Unable to get the puck to him. Here's Siren keeping it in. And the Oilers clear the puck the length of the ice. Less than a minute to go in the Edmonton penalty. Less than 4 minutes remaining in the second period. The Oilers have the only goal of the period. They trail it 4-1. Edmonton playing shorthanded. Here's Craig Simpson wheeling right around Muni. He's got Contos in front, but can't get the puck to him. McTavish killing the penalty for Edmonton. Half a minute to go in that penalty. Kevin Lowe along with Dave Hunter. And it's Hunter with the puck. Now 20 seconds left in Kulak's penalty. Dave Hunter cutting in, trying to get on his forehand, and he can't. And McTavish taken out by Mantha. That allows Bodger some time to head man. Contos getting it over, and Cunnyworth feeds to Shabbat. 4 seconds. Kulak will be back, and the Oilers will be at full strength. Cunnyworth leaving the puck for Shabbat. Edmonton back at full strength. Here's John Shabbat, high and wide. Doug Bodger right towards the net, and a save by Moog. That was a good pass shot because there are a lot of deflection possibilities. Kulak can't get the puck out. Gets it right back. Duke Kulak just out of the penalty box. Does some nifty stick handling. And he's taken out by Cunnyworth. And the puck goes to Willie Lindstrom. Boom, boom. Here's Teakin into Gretzky. 2:20 to go in the period. Gretzky's centering effort. Turned away by Shabbat. Mo Mantha, the veteran defenseman. Up to Bob Erie. He's unable to get around Jeff Bookboom. Yari Curry with a puck. Leaving it for Bookboom. Bookboom and Coffey. Here's Paul Coffey. This pass for Teakin, and he's stopped. Lindstrom caught that stick as it breezed right past his face, and he's feeling for blood, and there isn't any. Less than 2 minutes remaining in the second period. Teakin on the wing to Curry. Yari Curry for Edmonton. They trail 4-1 late in the second period. Paul Coffey shoots wide. In front, Regan the save, and Teakin taken out as Curry had a good chance. Now a whistle, and play is stopped as Hillier has Teakin, I believe, right where he wants him. Whoa, Jeff Bookboom runs into Hillier, and Bookboom wants to take on the veteran Randy Hillier. And Hillier better make sure he keeps his head out of the way of those right hands.
You know what happened? Hillier dropped his gloves and grabbed Teakin from behind. He didn't throw any punches, and he had both of his gloves off. He had him by the collar, and when a crowd came around, he put his hands around the front of Teakin's face. He might have even been trying to scratch him in the face or do some damage from behind, but Bookboom was watching everything, came in and popped Hillier as Hillier had his bare hands around Teakin.
Rhetorical question, doesn't that make Bookboom third man in? It's 4-1. Pittsburgh leads Edmonton.
Well, we're not quite sure what the penalties are yet, but it's safe to say there was enough action to warrant a few penalties. Definitely Hillier, definitely Bookboom. Watch the front of your net, the right of your screen. Riggin tried to give Tikkanen a shot. There's Hillier. Boy, he got up with the right under Tikkanen's jaw. Now he's standing with his gloves off. Wait, we'll see the crowd come in. Riggin says something to Tikkanen. There's Hillier going up with his left arm, and he's going to come back with it. See, he's got his hands around on the front of Tikkanen's face, and he's pulling his helmet off, and Tikkanen can't do anything. So Jeff Bukaboom says, I can do something.
Well, officiating is much discussed in the NHL every season. Well, those rights are menacing.
This super slow-mo, you can tell it bouncing off his helmet. He missed a couple.
You know, Bill, to me, without question, that's third man in. To me, there was a skirmish between Hillier and Tikkanen. And, you know, even Riggin kind of was leaning there. But I don't question at all that Bukaboom was a third man in my understanding of the situation.
I think it would boil right down to, in Bob Hall's mind, third man into what? And it would be a matter of, was that a confrontation between Hillier and Tikkanen that was looked upon as were they going to get penalties, both of them? So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I think it was a confrontation. It was a fight. Let's go to Tom.
All right, Ken Wilson. Mike Gardner, the NHL's Player of the Week, showing why tonight in Washington as Asa Tikkanen leaves the ice in Pittsburgh. Mike Gardner, number 11 for the Caps, converts a nice pass into a goal. His 31st of the year. The Red Wings have switched goaltenders. Hanlon is in. Steffen is out. Washington now leads Detroit 6-0 in the second period as David A. Jensen has just scored. Let's go back to Pittsburgh.
5 minutes for fighting.
Well, Tikkanen gets 2 minutes for roughing. Bukaboom, who looked like a third man in my opinion, got 2 minutes for instigating and 5 minutes for fighting. And those are the penalties on the Edmonton side. On the other side, Hillier gets 2 minutes for roughing, so Bukaboom ends up getting 17 minutes. Hillier and Tikkanen for the original confrontation each get 2-minute penalties. All of it happening at 18:21 of the second period with Pittsburgh up 4-1. That's Glenn Sather in the foreground and John Muckler in the background. There's Bob Berry, the longtime NHL coach, really under fire here, trying to start a fire under his Pittsburgh team, and they have played extremely well here tonight, battling for a playoff spot in the Patrick division.
So what are we talking about net effect on the penalties then? It looks as if the Oilers are short for 2 minutes, with Bukaboom drawing the extra 2 as the instigator, with Tikkanen and Hillier each picking up 2, so they offset. Bukaboom and Hillier each picking up 5, so those offset. So the only thing remaining is Bukaboom's 2 minutes, which should give Pittsburgh a man advantage.
And of course, on the scoreboard, they put up 2 minutes to Esa Tikkanen as the penalty. Bob Hall is explaining it to everyone concerned.
I still don't know what Esa Tikkanen did to draw 2 minutes.
He didn't do much, did he?
No, and that's probably why Bob Hall, you know, when he's making his decision, has to ask himself. There was a 2 minute coming for Hillier, and I don't know where that penalty was coming from Tikkanen. Third man in is an easy call when there's a fight going on. When there's an actual fight going on and somebody jumps on one of the guys.
But if Tikkanen gets 2 minutes for roughing and Hillier gets 2 minutes for roughing, which is a typical fight or confrontation, as you would say. Right. So Hall is saying, yeah, there was a confrontation, a wrestling session, a fight. I stopped play. Bukaboom came in. That's third man in. But that's why refereeing is so interesting. It's judgment, and that's the key thing to recall and keep in mind at all times.
They have a tough enough job as it is on that horizontal plane. Boy, Craig Simpson really picked up a lot of the slack for Pittsburgh. He's having a whale of a game tonight. Here he is, wheeling and dealing through the neutral zone. A stick got caught in Craig McTavish's skate, so he's able to get around him. This was his nicest move. He makes one more. Watch the Edmonton defender, Kevin Lowe, go down around him. Now he tries to put on the brakes and cut in front. No way. He ran out of room.
Craig Simpson, still only a youngster and playing some of the best hockey he has played in the NHL. He's a Michigan State University product. This is the best I know that I've ever seen him play, Bill Clement, and we don't get to see him every day, but he's played well.
He has basically come on as we watched him at the end of last season and at the beginning of this season. I agree with you. He didn't impress us in many hockey games, but of late he's been getting stronger and stronger and really showed what he's made of when Mario Lemieux was injured with his knee injury. He was one of the few Penguins to pick up the slack and really produce.
Edmonton playing shorthanded. Pittsburgh leads by 3. Gregg against the boards. Warren Young and Simpson get it loose. Here's Quinn. Less than a minute to go in the second period. Mantha over to Bodger. Simpson can't get it around the defense. A very nice play by Randy Gregg. Warren Young. Hunter, McTavish, Gregg out there for Edmonton, killing the penalty along with Coffey. 35 seconds to go in the period. 56 seconds to go in the Edmonton penalty. Quinn to Bodger. The high shot deflects into the crowd, and there are 29 seconds remaining in period 2.
Boy, Danny Quinn can make a nice pass. When it's firm, even when he passes it with a lot of speed, he puts a lot of spin on the puck, and it seems to be an easy pass to kind of receive. Quinn's got great hands. No one in Calgary, before they sent him here to Pittsburgh, ever argued that Dan Quinn did not have great hands and great skills. Here's a shot. That's after the pass from Quinn over to that side, right up over the net and over Andy Moog up into the stands. There's Craig Simpson parked right on the doorstep. This is a time for concentration. Boy, he's got Simpson's stick coming up in front of his field of vision. The puck coming up in there. Really have to concentrate.
Awfully difficult to deflect those shoulder-high shots.
Yeah, the lower to the ice, a little easier when they're flat on the ice. But, you know, very often, because the puck is coming up close to eye level, they're easier to deflect the closer they get to eye level. It's like a pitch in baseball that comes in from belt high to shoulder high, easier than making contact with it down around the ankles.
Gretzky intercepts. Of course, you can't touch a puck with your stick above your shoulder, so you run into a danger zone high. Pittsburgh power play. 14 seconds remaining, second period. Pittsburgh has been shut out in this period, and a whistle and an offside call against Edmonton, and 11 seconds remaining. To recap the scoring, in the first period, Shabbat, Simpson, Young, and Frawley for the Penguins, and in this period, Coffey, a power play goal for Edmonton. It came at 5:20. Edmonton had a two-man advantage. Messier and Gretzky assisting. Mario Lemieux is playing after missing 4 games with bronchitis, and the 21-year-old has not shown a whole lot here in the first 2 periods.
He has to be weak, though. He's not a big man in an upper body sense. He came to camp at 218, trimmed down to 210, and he has lost another 10 pounds, so he's pushing 6'5", and he weighs about 200 pounds now. Really doesn't have a big torso, so he's hurting with that lung ailment.
1 second, and that is the end of the second period here at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. A sellout crowd. Shots on goal, Pittsburgh 17-15. After 40 minutes, Pittsburgh leads the Edmonton Oilers 4-1. Edmonton Oilers do. Certainly, they're in a position of having to open up. Short-handed the Oilers. First 21 seconds of this third period. Napier leaves the puck for Muni. Low at center ice past McTavish. Here's Bodger in front, and Lowe clears it out. And play is stopped as one of the Pittsburgh Penguins ends up in a heap in the corner.
The NHL Tonight is brought to you by Budweiser, the genuine article, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Metropolitan Life and affiliated companies. Get Met, it pays. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Let's go back to Pittsburgh. Ken Wilson and Bill Clement.
Well, Bill Clement, Craig Simpson, only trying to turn, ended up into the corner, and he's up and well at the moment.
Here's Kevin Lowe, who will just swipe the puck around. He follows through and comes up and hits Simpson.
I didn't see it.
Looks like he got shot with a bazooka from about 7 feet the way he went down. You'll have to shake that off. You'll have no choice right now. The Penguins definitely need a kid like Craig Simpson. He is, we mentioned earlier in the second period, picked up some of the slack when Mario Lemieux was injured and is finally blossoming into an NHLer. But some of the Pittsburgh problems over the last couple of years, Ken, I really feel have dealt with rushing guys into the lineup. They've had no choice. They've had terrible seasons in the past, so they've rushed kids like Craig Simpson as an 18-year-old and Bob Erie when he was a top choice in 1983, and some of these kids never do develop the way they should. But Pittsburgh's had little choice but to rush a lot of the youngsters in over the last few years, and some of the draft picks that Eddie Johnson has kept when he took over as general manager, Pittsburgh had given away a lot of draft choices. Eddie Johnson, their GM, has kept a lot of them, and finally he's seen some dividends from his drafts in the last few years.
Muni with a puck. Both teams at full strength. Pittsburgh leads 4-1. You might wonder what the chances are for these two sides statistically here. Tikkanen shooting it in. Pittsburgh has led after 2 periods 18 times this season. And they've lost only once when they've had the lead going into the third period. Mantha's shot smothered. Shabbat centers, and no one there for the Penguins. As far as Edmonton is concerned, they have trailed going into the third period 14 times this season. They've come back to win on 3 occasions, 3 out of 14. The odds definitely are with Pittsburgh.
Especially with the 3-goal lead, no question.
Here's Willie Lindstrom. His backhand shot wide. Second minute of play, third period. 3-goal lead for Pittsburgh. Deacon. He is on with Gretzky and Curry. Puck slides away from him, and Cunninghurst just content to smash it back in. Bodger slows up the Edmonton run. Deacon. Anderson. He's pretty much alone. Can't get a good shot away. Doug Bodger. Up the middle to Dan Quinn. On the wing, Frawley in front, trying to get the puck to Cunninghurst, unable to. Craig Muni. Anderson for Edmonton. He's got a chance. The shot, and Riggin the save. Sheeran taken out by Hunter. Finally, the puck to center ice for Dan Quinn. 2:15 has been played in the third period as Kevin Lowe has the puck for the Edmonton Oilers. Mark Messier on the fly. And it's offside Edmonton at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. On the NHL tonight, the Penguins lead the Oilers 4-1. Tonight in Pittsburgh, here on ESPN, you go back to where we started at the opening of our telecast, Bill. We emphasized Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. The game, I think, has become bigger than either one of those players, as it turns out.
Well, right now it's going to rest on Wayne Gretzky's shoulders to get them going. And very often, teams are at a disadvantage at certain times of a game when you have a player like Gretzky or Mario Lemieux, because the tendency is to say, no problem, Wayne will do it, or no problem, Mario will do it. In this case, it's the Oilers that have to get things turned around, as Pittsburgh is going to be called for a penalty here, but you can rely too heavily sometimes on your stars to get things rolling for you.
Craig Simpson will get the penalty. Moog to the bench. Delayed call. It won't stop until Pittsburgh touches the puck. Here's Gretzky. You always will rely on a Gretzky. The penalty called against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh tonight has really not relied on Lemieux, and they don't rely on him here when they have a lead. Pittsburgh up 4-1.
Look at Snoopy. He's in training again.
Holding at 2:57. Edmonton on the power play tonight, 1 for 6. We mentioned earlier, their power play has not been exactly devastating lately. Bodger to Shabbat to clear the puck up. A week from tonight, here on ESPN, the NHL tonight goes north of the border. We'll watch Montreal meet the Flames in Calgary. That is 1 week from tonight. After the puck, Bodger slapping it off the glass into center ice. Pittsburgh changing their penalty killer. Gregg for Edmonton. And a poke check on Gretzky by Dan Quinn. He's got Cunninghurst in front and just is content to kill some time. Now Quinn held way behind the play. It's 4-on-3 Edmonton. Here's Cunninghurst intercepted. 2-on-1 Pittsburgh with Quinn. One man back low, and Edmonton a superb job back checking. Anderson, less than a minute to go in the Edmonton power play. Cunninghurst all over Glenn Anderson. Cunninghurst shoots the puck in, and the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight have been outstanding killing penalties.
They really have, and number 9, John Shabbat, has not only killed penalties well, but been able to contain the Gretzky line.
Messier moves in, and they score! The puck goes in! Riggin upset as Bob Erie was back-checking, taking out the Edmonton player, and Riggin ends up in a tumble, and the Oilers score a power play goal.
It looked as if Riggin's momentum carried him back. He was moving back into the net, got the puck up high in the torso area, and just tumbled back into the net. Here's Messier coming in. He'll go to his backhand and just get a sharp angle elevation shot up on Riggin. There he is. Boy, it fell down. You're absolutely right. It fell down, and the crowd that was sliding into him actually knocked it into the net. Here's a super slow-mo look. There's Krushelnyski going down with Erie in front. Their momentum will carry them right into the loose puck. Riggin has it. I don't even know that he realized he lost it there. He sees it going down. It was headed that way anyway, but Erie, along with Krushelnyski in a heap, just made sure that it went back into the net.
Art Messier, the third leading scorer on this Oilers team, gets the goal, and it is 4-2. Pittsburgh leading Edmonton, 15:20 to go in the third period. Mario Lemieux for the Penguins, just shooting the puck in. Edmonton to center ice. Krushelnyski firing it in. Napier beats to it. It's McTavish. And Mario Lemieux behind the net loses it. Krushelnyski trying to get away from Mario Lemieux. And boy, Lemieux at that point looks like he's all arms and legs.
He is.
McTavish gets the puck to Krushelnyski to Napier in front. This is Mitch Wilson, who's only had a shift or two tonight. Young man who is up from Baltimore. Muni gets the puck quickly to center ice. Here come the Oilers. Nice feed on the wing. Tikkanen wide by about 6 or 7 inches. Gregg for Edmonton. They trail it 4-2. McTavish checked by Simpson. Then Curry trying to get the puck from Johnson. Can't. Craig Simpson losing the puck, and Gregg has it. And gets it right back. The goal, Messier, a short-handed goal. A power play goal, rather, at 4:20. A power play goal for Messier at 4:20. Here comes Bob Erie for Pittsburgh. Now Paul Coffey. Pittsburgh changing players. Here's Gretzky from Coffey with Curry and Tikkanen. Tikkanen to Curry. He's all alone in front. He waits. He's on. Oh, it goes over the net. Curry, and there's a Pittsburgh player injured, and the action is stopped as Doug Bodger gets up.
Boy, he had the gaping net. Riggin forced him wide, and Jari Kurri can usually thread it into a very small opening. He had the whole net and went right over it with that one. The puck is just directed towards Riggin. It looked like it was almost a semi-shot, but Curry was there. Did that hit Riggins' stick?
I don't know,
I thought it might have originally.
I thought it might have, and I'm still not really sure. He had a pretty good loft on it when he let it go.
Here's a good look at it from behind the net. No, that's a definite pass from Tikkanen to Curry. Here it is.
I think he might have just shot it over.
I'll tell you, had he slid it on the ice, he would have scored. He was just trying to be safe and get it into the top of the net. Riggin had his stick up there, and Curry just zapped it right over the net.
On both of those replays, you can see Doug Bodger getting slammed out of the slot. Kevin Lowe getting the assist on Messier's power play goal at 4:20, the 28th goal of the season for Messier. Coffey and Messier have scored for Edmonton. Shabbat, Simpson, Young, and Crawley for Pittsburgh, but all that occurred on the Penguins side back in the first period. Edmonton with a goal in the second period, another goal here in the third. Both have come on the power play. Tikkanen. Jari Kurri is already over the blue line. Tikkanen has to wait and will just drive the puck in. It'll come out to Willie Lindstrom. And he is sure to get it out of his own end. Both teams are at full strength. Here's Lindstrom. He's spun around. Coffey making the play defensively. Shabbat doing the forechecking on Tikkanen. Hillier gets the puck in front, and Lindstrom can't get a handle on it. Now Gretzky winding up. And Tikkanen just deflects the puck onto Hillier, and he'll shoot it right back in. The action continues here at the Civic Arena. Budweiser keeping the play going so you can enjoy the game. And for all you do, this Bud's for you. Coffey gets in front, and that puck ends up in the crowd as Crawley goes into a heap with Tikkanen. Well, Edmonton getting their chances. They're down only 4-2.
Boy, we've talked about Glenn Anderson a number of times tonight and his speed cutting in. We've talked about Paul Coffey's speed. He had a great chance here, going wide, cutting right in on Riggin. Watch how Riggin helps himself with his stick out in front here. See how he goes right to the top of his stick, waiting for Coffey to actually cut in front. Riggin's real good at keeping that front of the net his. He owns it. It belongs to him. And he said, "You can't cut in front of me." He chokes up. Boy, look at this shot. I love it, camera behind the net. That gives you a real good feeling of just how fast the action is and how heated it is. The closer you get to the action, the better you can see it.
12:35 remaining in the third period. 4-2 Pittsburgh. Momanta Checked by Dave Hunter, but gets the puck out, and Craig Muni will go back for it. Edmonton thinking offense. It's not too tough for them. Low over to Messier, too far. That's one thing they don't have a problem with, is that they can turn on offense anytime. That's for sure. They've got it to spare. Dan Quinn, long shot off Moog's stick, and that sails into the crowd.
Well, Bob Berry told us this morning that his team was not discouraged. I said, listen, you guys have such a tough road. You have 8 games left in the Patrick division. The Penguins face Philadelphia in a home and home, as well as New Jersey and the Islanders. They play in Washington and also home against the New York Rangers. So 8 of their final 20 games are within their very tough Patrick division. Bob Berry said, no, we're not discouraged, we're not depressed, and we still believe we can make the playoffs. And I have to believe him now. The Penguins have had 2 solid periods, a couple of breakdowns here and there. We're down to 12:06 in the 3rd period. We still got a 2-goal lead against the team that's #1 out of 21 teams in the NHL, so they've got some spunk left in them.
And Pittsburgh, as we pointed out, coming off an impressive win at Madison Square Garden Sunday, 4-2 over the Rangers. This is a team, remember, Pittsburgh, that started the campaign with 7 consecutive wins. So when you look at their overall record, you can really see how they've struggled since starting the season 7-0. Under 12 minutes remaining, 3rd period. Anderson shoots the puck in. Regan unable to get it. Hunter being checked by Young. Check, check, check. That's the story for Pittsburgh. Get a man. And don't let Edmonton get much speed, much momentum. Keep them bogged down. Whoa, almost losing the puck to Simpson, and Muni will go back. Now Pittsburgh has changed on the fly. Low. He'll shoot it in. Bob Erie with Edmonton changing. Mario Lemieux trying to get it back to Erie and unable to. Gregg shovels the puck ahead out of the reach of Messier. Erie plays it back to Siren. Pittsburgh up 4-2. 11 minutes to go. And Mario Lemieux makes a nice move, but Lindstrom is offside on the right wing. Our score, Pittsburgh 4, Edmonton 2.
Motor Trend car of the
In a period. Must be hot in the ice there. He's warm already.
Age will never calm that man down.
Gilmore, one of the leading scorers in the league. Only 6 players with more points than Gilmore. Here it is 4-2 Pittsburgh. Lemieux after the puck, and Gregg will get back ahead of him. Mitch Wilson keeps it in. Mario Lemieux behind the net for Mitch Wilson. In front, trying to get the puck through to Hannon, unable to. Neither Hannon nor Wilson have seen much action tonight for the Pens. Coffey gets the puck in, but it is offside, and there's 10:17 to go. You know, you look at Edmonton tonight, they have not dressed Lee Fogelin, Steve Smith, and Danny Gare. All year they've gone with quite a few extra players. They have Yaroslav Pozar, a veteran from Europe who has been playing in West Germany the season over. He is here sort of trying out. You also have Reijo Ruotsalainen, the former Ranger, who's been playing in Europe, and I understand another week or 10 days, Bill, he's going to be with Edmonton.
Can you see Ruotsalainen and Paul Coffey on the point on Edmonton's power play?
Wow. Boy, you put Ruotsalainen on one shift, Coffey on the other, and you have plenty of offense from your defenseman. In the corner, Yari Curry, checked by Bodger. Keegan throwing his weight around, and finally Hillier says, I've had enough of that. I think Pittsburgh's doing a good job in this 3rd period, staying all over Edmonton, getting the body at every opportunity.
They have to. They're not making any high-risk plays. They're dumping the puck. The game will show that Pittsburgh will ultimately have more turnovers than Edmonton, but a lot of them are dumping it out and letting Edmonton go back, recoil, and try and get the puck back up ice. So Pittsburgh is giving the puck away, not in vulnerable positions, just to get themselves out of vulnerable situations.
Virtually every time the Oilers get to the Pittsburgh blue line, you'll see 3, sometimes 4 Penguins right in a row, looking like soldiers at their own blue line. 9:18 left in regulation play. Shabbat gets the puck to Mantha. Quickly to Lindstrom. They say the pass was from inside the Pittsburgh blue line, and a lot of the folks here disagree. It was a very close play.
Mantha snapped it right up. Willie was just turning around to get it. He has had a lot of ice time tonight. Willie Lindstrom, the 35-year-old youngster. ex-Edmonton Oiler. Mo Mantha as well has played a lot. You talked about Edmonton, Ken, a minute ago, having a lot of players on their roster, and they keep fitting guys like Danny Gare in. Charlie Huddy has not played regularly, neither has Lee Fogel, and Pittsburgh really hasn't been blessed with that kind of depth. Players from Baltimore in the American League have played over 100 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins this year, and that's one of their problems is depth. When they have injuries, they don't have players on their roster here that are extras that can fit in. They have to call people up from the minor leagues, and they're trying to build some depth, but it takes a while. That's one of the luxuries the Oilers have.
Makes it tough on those skipjacks and their fans in Baltimore. 9 minutes to go in the third period. 4-2 Pittsburgh. Frawley slams the puck in off the blocker of Moog. Andy Moog has not given up a goal since the first period. Here's Quinn for the Penguins. Charlie Huddy will take over. Curry losing the puck. And the Oilers get it right back. Can't get out. Quinn keeping it in, and the Penguins have played a marvelous game here tonight before another sellout at the Civic Arena. A real team effort tonight by Bob Berry's Pittsburgh Penguins. Mark Messier on the attack. Skims past Bodger. Unable to center against Simpson. A good bit of back checking by Craig Simpson. Here's Glenn Anderson. Quick shot, and that's turned aside. There'll be a penalty. A penalty coming up against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Don't ever leave that door ajar for the Edmonton Oilers. Pittsburgh leads it 4-2.
Point, they're going to have to kill yet another penalty. Here's the Henderson shot. Riggin gets this one, knocks it to the side. Right in the center of your screen is Billy Searin putting the arm on Jari Kurri, it looks like, and hauling him down. Bob Hall is off to the right there in the corner. He's very close to it. There's Riggin making the original save. Well, I think if Searin hadn't had his stick all the way around Jari Kurri, he wouldn't have ended up holding him.
Other action with the details. Here's Tom.
Okay, Ken, in Buffalo tonight, the Sabres lead the Rangers 3-2 after 2 periods. After 2 periods in Quebec, it's the Nordiques 4, Minnesota 2, Washington 7, Detroit nothing after 2 periods. And after 1, St. Louis leads the Islanders 1-0. Back to Pittsburgh we go.
You know, I see that 7-0 Washington lead over Detroit, Bill. Just recently, Detroit went into New York to play the Rangers and gave up 6 goals, I believe it was, and lost. And you kind of had that feeling it was going to be a tough night for Detroit and Washington, which doesn't help this Pittsburgh team as Johnson's shot is wide, goes high, and comes down in the rink. The play had been stopped. Andy Moog pointed up into the crowd. Bob Hall, the referee, stops play, and the puck comes high out to the air onto the ice.
It looked from here as if it was going into the crowd. Here's the long shot. End over ender just about, and Andy Moog goes off the...
Watch Moog. Oh, see? It's going way up into the crowd. And the referee bites, and it comes down on the ice.
Except he didn't want him to bite because the face-off now will come in the Oilers' end. Gerard Gauthier, the linesman, is standing to Andy Moog's left, waiting to drop the puck. And Moog was definitely pointing that it was up in the air, but while he was pointing, he was saying, it's up there, but it's coming back down. Don't worry.
I guess for the referee, the way out of that is to say, I lost sight of the puck. That's when you blow the whistle. That covers a lot of sin.
You have no choice.
There's 7:48 remaining. Pittsburgh clinging to a 4-2 lead over the Edmonton Oilers. In fact, trying to hand Edmonton their second consecutive loss, losing in Winnipeg to start a 5-game, 13-day road trip. They'll go to New Jersey and Washington and finally conclude it all in Vancouver. Pittsburgh with only 5 wins in the last 20 games. Penguins shorthanded. Messier tries to snap it off quickly from Gretzky. Can't do it. Now Edmonton dangerous. Gretzky. And Quinn intercepts 2-on-1 with Pennyworth. Coffey is back. Krushelnyski's back checking. Quinn and Coffey breaks up that play. 7:18 to go in the third period. Messier with Anderson, and the great one to Coffey. Almost makes a miraculous move. The Oilers still have the puck. Messier. Here he comes. Oh, and he's poke checked at the last minute by Bodger, but he can't clear. 55 seconds to go in the Pittsburgh penalty. And Jari Curry has to play the puck at center ice.
Boy, when the Oilers catch a couple of tired forwards out there, that's when they get you running around. Honeyworth and Danny Quinn definitely were low on energy at that last stage of the pressure by the Oilers. And once they get you twisted around and out of position, that's when they deposit it behind you.
Oilers have scored both of their goals tonight on the power play. The first goal in the second period came with a 2-man advantage. McTavish with 6.5 minutes to go. 26 seconds left in the power play. And the puck cleared, and the crowd loves it here in Pittsburgh. Jari Kurri back. Chabot and Honeyworth up front. Mantha on the defense along with Johnson for Pittsburgh. This is the ex-Bruin McTavish to Gretzky. He's got Tikkanen in front. Kurri at the left point, at the right point, Coffey, and he can't get that quick shot away. Here's Mo Mantha out of the penalty box. Here's Siren. He'll chase after the puck. He takes a shot. He scores! Billy Siren! Now the linesmen get together. Billy Siren has put the red light on. It would have been an icing had the Edmonton player touched the puck. Moog felt that the player, Siren, coming out of the penalty box was offside.
That's the definite question. Was Billy Siren on his side of center when the puck crossed center? In other words, Billy Siren is not allowed to precede the puck across the center line when the pass is coming from within his own blue line. I thought it was offside, but Gerard Gauthier, who was the lead linesman, it looked as if he was going to call the offside, but when Siren got to the puck first, I'm not sure. I was wondering, here it is. See if we can get a look at it. I'll tell you, that's a good call. I think the puck preceded Billy Siren across center ice, and you know what? I'm not so sure Siren didn't look around and get a look at the fact that it was going to be waved off, because why would he have played it? Let's face it, Billy Siren's smart enough player to know if he plays that and it's offside, the play goes all the way back down to his own end from where Mo Mantha passed the puck from.
And Bill, I don't really think Andy Moog was playing that seriously. I think he was just sort of standing there.
I think so too, but that replay showed us that Billy Siren looked as if he was onside.
Well, they're going to have to bring out the attendants to clean the ice. 5-2, Pittsburgh has the lead with 5:57 to go. It's 5-2 Pittsburgh.
The moment you...
And young Jerry Caveman explaining it to Kevin Lowe there. We're going to get another look at it. We'll try to stop it for you. The question is, Siren out of the penalty box, is he at the red line or on his side of it as the puck gets to the checkered red line?
Here's Mantha's pass. If it is offside, the face-off comes right back down to that dot. Okay, here's the puck.
Stop it. Oh,
there it is.
He's onside.
No, he's onside.
He's onside.
Yes, definitely. That's a good play and a good call by Gerard Gauthier, and the Oilers are sure arguing it, but that was a very good call.
Boom, right there. The puck's at the checkered red line. Is Siren at the line or to the right of it? No question.
Both skates. His body was leaning over the line, but let's face it, both of his skates were on his side of center ice. Let's take a look at Andy Moog. He's just standing there wondering, thinking that there's going to be a call. I'll guarantee you that if Andy Moog had thought that was going to be an offside pass, he would have been out cutting down that angle and not tucked back in the goal that way.
So there is a strange play. And that is, I think, an extremely difficult call for a linesman. And the two linesmen tonight were right on the money. So it's Siren, his 5th of the year from Mantha at 14:03, and that takes a little bit of the starch out of the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, it takes starch out of the Oilers, and it puts starch in the collar of the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's a giant goal here with 6 minutes to go in this game. We know how explosive the Oilers are, but that's a commanding lead the way the Penguins have played in this third period.
Well, exciting hockey here in Pittsburgh, and coming up on ESPN right after our game, top-ranked boxing from Atlantic City. The NABF Junior Welterweight title is on the line. A 12-rounder, Harold Brazier from South Bend, Indiana, against John Meekins of New York. Brazier and Meekins, the NABF Junior Welterweight title. That's coming up from Atlantic City here on ESPN right after the NHL tonight.
Edmonton Oilers that are still arguing the call, but they haven't had a chance to see it the way we have.
So it is 5-2 Pittsburgh. They get their first goal since the first period. Chabot, Simpson, Young, Frawley, and now Siren. As far as Edmonton is concerned, Coffey and Messier. Well, Pat Riggin came up with a big win the other night in goal, and as you pointed out, Bill, he is so essential, a hot goalie. The rest of the way, Pittsburgh has got to have it.
They have to have that. They have to play even above their and beyond their potential. It's not going to be easy to catch either the New York Rangers or the Islanders or the Washington Capitals. Those are some teams that have been playing some decent hockey of late, and it's going to still be a long road. But Pat Regan, definitely, you're right, Ken, has to be one of the keys.
The Edmonton Oilers are beatable on the road. If they lose tonight, they will have suffered 13 road losses. They come in 16-12-1 on the road, in a league where it's extremely difficult for a team to be 500 or better on the road. Dave Hunter in front. It comes to Lowe, and the shot ends up on the back of the net on the mesh, and that'll stop play, and the faceoff will be inside of the Pittsburgh blue line. There's Pittsburgh's player. You get a good look at it.
There's what that camera's for. That shows you just what happens when push comes to shove behind the net. There are a couple of heavyweights, Warren Young along with number 11 Mark Messier. Hunter was one of the main participants when it started.
It all occurs with 5:08 remaining. Let's get a look at it.
Here we're going to jump right into the living room here with this camera behind the net. One of the Pittsburgh players makes a smart play right after this and actually tries to squeeze the puck off. You can see Chris Contos, but here Hunter battling it out along the board. So behind the play and behind the puck, action galore.
So the penalties, Hunter and Johnson, each 2 minutes for roughing. Billy Siren getting a big goal here out of the penalty box back in January of '86 in the most recent Pittsburgh win over the Oilers in Edmonton. He scored an almost identical goal. That was just over a year ago. So Siren has done it twice. He doesn't get that many goals.
He's having his anniversary. No big deal.
Again, we remind you we'll be back here on ESPN, the NHL tonight, 1 week from tonight. We're all looking forward to going to Calgary. The Flames against the Montreal Canadiens. Good stop by Regan. And Bob Erie clears the puck out. Lindstrom to Shabbat. Under 5 minutes remaining. Oilers trail by 3. They're down 5-2. They lost the first game of this road trip in Winnipeg. 5-2. Charlie Huddy yanked down by Shabbat. This is Lindstrom. Oilers shoot it back in. Doug Bodger, the 20-year-old, who was the Penguins' #1 pick in 1984. Here's Shabbat. He'll shoot, and a save by Andy Moe. Gray clears the puck to center ice. Both teams changing players. Mo Mantha willing to take time. Pittsburgh looking at the clock. 4:15 to go. Edmonton looking at the clock, but the result is different. They start to scurry. Here's Curry. And the save by Regan as Jari Curry fanned a bit. Greg Muni. Down to 4 minutes remaining. 5-2. Pittsburgh leading Edmonton. Muni over to Lowe, too far. And Crawley deep into the corner. And the crowd aware the time is running out on Edmonton. Trying to cut in. Unable to. Is Gretzky. And Pittsburgh ices the puck. And behind the play, Curry, Gretzky, Cunnyworth, and Bodger mixing it up. And Jari Curry doing most of the mixing on the Edmonton side. Gretzky's quite a mixer. He's a very personable guy who likes to talk, but you rarely will ever see Wayne Gretzky in an altercation. Talking going on. Tikkanen and Curry, the two Scandinavians who play the wings with Gretzky. That should be one of the most timid sportsman-like lines anywhere in the world.
Well, you can bet that if you can notice the linesman holding people back. You can bet if they weren't there wouldn't be quite as much talking.
Good point. 3:34 to go in the third period. Pittsburgh leads it 5-2.
3 minutes and 34 seconds to go. Which man would you least like to have in the penalty box?
I just wish I'd had Dave Semenko back so he could have taken the penalty.
Well, there's no question that in an instant like that, Dave Semenko would have jumped in. But Tikkanen's a pretty feisty guy, and Jari Curry will stand his ground. And I'm not taking anything away from a guy like Wayne Gretzky. He'll stand up for himself when he has to.
Keep in mind, top-ranked boxing is coming up next. A title fight from Atlantic City here on ESPN. It's coming right up. Harold Brazier, John Meekins, the NABF Junior Welterweight title at stake tonight on Top Rank Boxing here on ESPN. Gretzky roughing 16-26. There have not been too many Wayne Gretzky roughing penalties ever.
Not too many penalties in general for number 99, Wayne Gretzky, but he will wade in. He will do what has to be done. You know, I give him credit for everything that he's done in his career. He's been a very dedicated athlete and far more aggressive when he has to be than people give him credit for. He'll stand in there.
I like the comment he made sitting in the stands when we were nearby this morning when he said Pittsburgh, they don't get here, the Oilers, very much, once or twice a season maximum. And he said, you know, when I was a youngster in Brantford, Ontario, he says, Pittsburgh trained there for a while. So he kind of has that little special tingle in terms of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
He used to watch Glenn Sather train there along with Brian Bugsy Watson, an ex-Pittsburgh Penguin, ex-Washington Cap. I guess watching those guys inspired him to be an offensive-minded kind of player.
He knew he had a chance someday. Just over 3 minutes to go. Just over a minute 30 to go in the Gretzky penalty. So Edmonton playing it shorthanded. Kevin Lowe feeds off to Mark Napier. And right to the goal mouth. And McTavish battling with Simpson. Kevin Lowe will go back to the puck. 2:38 to go. 5-2, Pittsburgh leading the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton changing players. Gretzky with 45 seconds remaining in his penalty. Here's Randy Cunningham, the ex-Sabre. He's stopped by Huddy. Anderson, a dangerous pass. And Messier will cover up. Now Mario Lemieux gives the puck to Quinn. He's got Hillier in front and doesn't spot it. 2 minutes to go. Pittsburgh up 5-2. Dan Quinn now tries to get it to Hillier, and I believe that was a play ago as Messier clears the puck away. Gretzky will be back in 12 seconds. 1:46 to go. The Pittsburgh Penguins getting a huge boost here tonight before another sellout at the Civic Arena. Mario Lemieux turned aside. Bodger keeping the puck in. Gretzky back on. Both teams at full strength. Gretzky with 1:24 to go to Messier. And here comes Siren for Pittsburgh. Lindstrom, they've got Erie cutting in on the left wing. The pass to Bob Erie. He shoots. And he can't beat Andy Moe. Now back for the puck go the Penguins with 1:05 remaining. 5-2 Pittsburgh. Riggin a big save. Another feed in front, and that's broken up with less than a minute to go. So the Penguins will win for the 23rd time. And they'll have 56 points as play is stopped. And there is our roll age player of the game, Pat Riggin.
He has only faced 22 Oilers shots tonight in a great team effort. I've maintained all along that individuals score goals, teams keep them out of the goal, and that's what Pat Riggin has had in front of him. But he's been the man that's backed it all up and really been the stopgap tonight for Pittsburgh. And we talked about him being a key going down the stretch. Very, very solid in there, allowing only 2 Oilers goals. So justifiably our roll aids player of the game, Pat Riggin.
Well, one of the stories on the Pittsburgh Penguins coming in was the fact that they have not been scoring goals. And maybe they haven't been, but 5 of them tonight against Edmonton. Kevin Lowe picking up a 10-minute misconduct penalty here at 19:09.
That's nothing more than frustrating getting the better of a man like Kevin Lowe at this stage of the game.
5 goal scorers tonight for Pittsburgh. Shabbat, Simpson, Young, Frawley, and Siren. Coffey and Messier getting the 2 power play goals for Edmonton. One of the 5 Pittsburgh goals, Warren Young's in the first period, came on a power play. Now Lowe will just be sent to the visiting dressing room here at the Civic Arena with 51 seconds remaining. Don't forget our next game here on ESPN next Tuesday night. The two teams from last season's Stanley Cup Finals, Calgary and Montreal. Cunneyworth and McClellan getting together, and there'll be a penalty or penalties here. Then Frawley comes and slaps the stick of Kevin McClellan.
I believe it's going to be McClellan whistled off for slashing. He just let Cunneyworth have it. Another frustrated Oiler at this stage of the game. Nothing to be won by it, but they're just letting out a lot of hot steam, and it's manifesting itself in the form of slashes and talking to the referee and misconduct.
How do you think the New Jersey Devils feel? They host Edmonton in the Oilers' next game.
I don't know. Bob Berry and the Pittsburgh Penguins said, oh, no, the Winnipeg Jets knocked off the Oilers, so they're going to come in here steaming mad. But we looked at an Edmonton Oilers team that didn't seem prepared to play in the early going, and I think New Jersey will be sitting around saying tomorrow, boy, I hope that the same thing happens to us, that we can jump on these guys early. Let's face it, the Pittsburgh Penguins won this game the first half of the first period.
45 seconds remaining. Further penalties. Well, this Pittsburgh team made a huge jump in total points going into last season and from the season before. Now they've slumped off a bit this year, and it's been a trying time here.
Bob Berry might have just assured himself another paycheck. Another 2 weeks on the job.
A lot of people kid about it. My job is day to day, and for Bob Berry, there's no kidding about it.
Well, is there such a thing as a permanent coach? I mean, every coach, you look at all the sports. Tom Landry, perhaps, is the closest thing that there can be to a permanent coach, but they're all interim. They're all going to get axed sooner or later.
Well, that's what coaches and announcers have in common.
Don't you dare say that.
That NABF Junior Welterweight title fight is just around the corner. Harold Frazier and John Meekins live from Atlantic City. That's coming up next after hockey here on ESPN. So the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to salvage the final game of the three-game season series with Edmonton. The Oilers winning the first two meetings by identical 4-2 scores.
Tell you what's holding things up. The timekeeper over in the penalty box is holding open the Edmonton door, wanting a player to go in there to serve a penalty.
And they really don't need one.
Well, the penalties were McClellan, 2 for slashing and a 10-minute misconduct. But in reality, either a player has to go into the locker room for the 2-minute penalty or into the box. In other words, McClellan has been sent off the ice, but he can't serve that too as well. So what the timekeeper's pointing out is one Edmonton player has to be taken off of their bench and not be allowed to get back into play.
Exactly. I was not aware of the 10-minute misconduct. So the players, McClellan and Frawley, get 10 minutes each, and McClellan the 2 minutes slashing. 35 seconds to go. Edmonton shorthanded and short on goal. They trail it 5-2. Superb performance tonight by the Pittsburgh Penguins, putting together back-to-back victories after 5 consecutive winless tries. 15 seconds remaining. Both the save. Down to 5 seconds, and a roar from this big, happy crowd in Pittsburgh. It's over. 5-2. Pittsburgh wins it.
And hard to believe these Penguins have had so much trouble lately. They played so well tonight defensively. They got the goals from the players that needed to score. There is life in Pittsburgh.
I like the show. It was fun to watch, and always good to see the underdog, so to speak, come up with a victory. Montreal will be at Calgary. We'll be there next Tuesday night. Hope you'll join us on the NHL tonight. Thanks to our crew in Pittsburgh. For Bill Clement, Ken Wilson, thanks for joining us. Stay tuned now. Tom Mees coming up right now with more.
Thank you very much, Ken Wilson. Quickly, other scores around the National Hockey League. The Rangers and Sabres tied at 3 in the third period. Minnesota and Quebec. Quebec leads at 14. Family togetherness, not since 1979, as the city of Pittsburgh felt that family-type unity when both the Pirates and Steelers brought titles to the Steel City. The Hockey Penguins have not made the playoffs for 4 years, but they are uniting behind their superstar, Mario Lemieux. Lemieux's hat trick on Sunday led the Penguins within 1 point.